Gonna kind of send it real quick. Ooh. The Daiwa Saltist, I always call it Solstice for some reason, I've been saying it wrong for years. Saltist MQ. The newest reel in Daiwa's MQ lineup, their saltwater spinner lineup, following after the BG MQ as well as the Saltiga, which came out on that same MQ frame. A new reel to the spinning reel world, and let's dive in. Let's unbox this bad boy, see what he brings to the table. Hey, what's going on everyone? It's your boy Ryan. Welcome to another reel unboxing video. In today's vid, I'm gonna unbox this bad boy, the Saltist MQ from Daiwa. I picked up a 5,000 size because it was kind of a size that I'm lacking in my own rod and reel arsenal. The size that I didn't really have. I sold off a couple Shimano 6,000, so I kind of only had some smaller reels and then like 8,000s and up. So I picked this bad boy up from my local tackle shop. Shout out to the Rod Room in West Palm Beach. They've actually been doing a lot of good stuff, helping me out with a lot of things. And if you're ever in the West Palm Beach area, be sure to check out the Rod Room. They got probably more stock than anyone I've seen, especially during, in the wake of everything that happened in 2020 and 2021. Ooh, this is actually really, really nice. So the Saltist is coming with an aluminum ball, which is significantly nicer than the handle that they were putting on the BG MQ, and the previous model Saltist just kind of had that rubber T-handle, but I am a big fan of aluminum ball handles. I'll tell you what, I don't know if that's a bushing in there or if that's a bearing, but it's spinning pretty darn nice. You guys saw that I got paperwork and stuff like that, but no one ever looks at that in the real box. So let's just open up this bad boy. Get rid of this plastic, get rid of this paper, whatever this cover is. I had the Rod Room spool up this reel with some 20-pound braid. It actually ended up fitting quite a bit of 20-pound. I went with J braid, their 8-strand. It fit around 370 yards, and I think I probably could even fit a little bit more. Lined up next to some of its cousins, you will find the BG MQ, which is anywhere from $200 to like $270. You have the Saltist MQ, which is in that $300 to $350 price range, and then you have the Saltiga, the 2020 Saltiga, which is in the $1,000 to $1,100 price range. But these are all built on a similar build, for lack of a better term. One-piece body, as opposed to two side plates that kind of go together, like you'll find on Penns and you'll find on Shimanos. Pretty much you can see that once Daiwa went with that model, or went with that design on the Saltiga, you knew that their whole lineup was going to pretty much follow. So, and now the Saltist is out, and it's what Daiwa would hope to be, we'll call it the Saragosa killer. It'll be the Saragosa competitor. It's in that same price point, meeting that same price point, and we will see how it holds up over time. Not gonna say which reel is better right now. I have done a full review of the Saragosa at this point, but literally just unboxed this guy, so we gotta see how the Saltist holds up over time. If you guys like videos like this one, as well as full-on reviews, which I have full-on reviews coming for the BG MQ and the Saltiga, be sure to hit the like button. It helps share this video with more people and help support the channel. It's been true for the last couple years, and I think this reel, the Saltist MQ, is going to continue that trend. It's that Daiwa has been king when it comes to a solid feeling reel. I think the MQ body definitely has a lot to do with that, with these new reels, but also how they make their gears, the digi gear, as they call it, the digitally analyzed, the digitally cut gears. There is so little play in these reels as compared to how reels were like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Everything is tuned to perfection, shimmed to perfection. It really feels immaculate out of the box, and where Shimanos kind of lose their smoothness over time as coatings rub off on gears and things like that, I think Daiwa does a great job of just maintaining that overall smoothness, and this reel is going to be a lot of fun to play around with. This 5,000 size, I wouldn't equate to a Shimano 5,000, maybe a Saragosa 5,000, but like, it is definitely a bulkier, a little bit heavier reel. It's right around 15 ounces, so it's definitely a lot heavier than like a Stratic 5,000. And I'm going to be using it in a little bit heavier situations where I would not use a Stratic. So I would honestly equate this more to a Shimano 6,000 than I would a Shimano 5,000. But overall, a nice medium-sized spinner to fish like 20 or 30 pound braid on. There is an unmistakable Daiwa solid feeling to this reel. So it feels like it's going to have a lot more cranking power than a similarly sized, let's say like a Shimano or a Penn, just because of how little tolerances, how fine the tolerances are built into this reel. Feels like it's definitely going to have a lot of power. I think the little aluminum ball makes you feel like you're going to have a little bit more power, and obviously, I'm not going to know this until I take it out and actually fish it and I'm able to do a full review, but it definitely feels solid. Feels like you have a lot of power to turn the handle in kind of a compact sized reel. Let me jump in here real quick and give a huge shout out to the channel's clothing sponsor, Navillus Apparel. I find myself just grabbing the shirts every morning because they're probably the most comfortable shirts in my closet. And I just do like the minimalistic design. A lot of fishing clothes these days are ridiculously tacky. They have like redfish scales on the sleeve. The entire thing is an American flag, and don't get me wrong, I like my American flags, but sometimes I just want a little bit more of a simple design of a shirt. And these bamboo shirts are extremely comfortable, and I'm happy that they're a sponsor of the channel. They're great. They've been great to work with, and I look forward to working with them in the future. Code Ryan20 is going to save you 20%. I have this shirt as well as a couple others linked in the description. Check them out if you're interested. Christmas is coming up. They're going to be a great Christmas present for that fisherman, or maybe just for yourself. I believe they're continuing to go with 2 bushings in the line roller, just like they did on the BG MQ, which is pretty strange for a $300 spinning reel. A lot of people will say, well, it's good because it's not going to wear out like a bearing. And yeah, you're right. It's definitely not going to wear out like a bearing. But I definitely don't think it's going to spin as effectively and as freely as a bearing would. You have to pack a lot of seals and do a lot of different things in order to seal in that line roller. And that's why something like the Saltiga, the line roller, is significantly bigger on it, because they have to pack in more seals, and they'll put a mag sealed bearing in the Saltiga. Whereas this, they've gone away from it. I'm pretty sure this last model Saltist, they had a mag sealed bearing, and that would go out very, very often just because people don't take care of their reels, don't properly maintain their line rollers. So shouldn't need much maintenance. Definitely a drop of lube every once in a while probably isn't a bad idea, but don't think it's going to spin as freely, perform as optimally as a bearing would when the bearing's performing properly. Is that all making sense? Now, this was disappointing to me when I opened this bad boy up and felt it, because it has the same cheap feeling drag cap that you do on the BG MQ. And those that saw my BG MQ unboxing video would remember that I said, this feels really cheap, it feels gross. It's growing on me a little bit, but it definitely, I don't know, I just wish they would put some type of finish on there just to make it feel a little bit better. This unfinished plastic, I guess, is not very slick. It definitely isn't slick like they had on the Saragosa and the Spheros, where you can barely grab it. Really grab this guy, pull it off. But it's definitely, there's just a cheap feeling to it overall. And it's just personal preference is what it comes down to. Daiwa, top stack drag, no bottom stack like you would have in a Saragosa. You do get the one-piece air bail. Ooh, that feels good. This feels so much better than the BG MQ. One of the biggest differences that we're going to find on this bus out from the BG MQ is that you're getting the Zion rotor. So this is a composite that's a lot denser, a lot stronger than the typical plastic that you're going to see on the BG MQ. So it's not aluminum like you find on the Saltiga, but it has zero flex for the composite. And this is the exact same material that they've had on the 2 previous models of Saltiga. So the Saltiga Expedition as well as the Saltiga Z. and it's lightweight but equally as strong. And honestly, the Saltiga Expedition was one of my favorite reels ever made, and I still have it. I still fish it to this day. Exact same rotor. We have mag sealed. Ooh, ah. If you guys don't know what that is, there is a magnetic plate in the reel as well as a ferrofluid, a fluid with little metal flakes in it, specifically designed to keep salt water, keep the elements, little particulates out. It's a very ingenious design that removes the need of a rubber seal and allows for a more free spinning feel. However, it's very sensitive to contaminants, so you can't get any outside oils, any outside greases in there, or it's going to affect the integrity of the mag seal. Now, the only mag seal within this reel is in the rotor. It's covering up the clutch, covering up the anti-reverse clutch, so it's preventing water from getting in at this point. There are no mag seals at the entry points in the handles, like you find on the Saltiga, where there's mag sealed bearings inside the handle knob on each side. And I'm very disappointed that Daiwa is continuing to use this little rubber piece right here to basically protect the bearing on the inside of the handle. It's a very weak fitting seal. It's not going to stop any pressurized water from getting in the reel. So if you accidentally dunk half the reel in water, water is 100% going to get into where that bearing is. I really wish Daiwa would use a rubber seal on the inside of the side plate like Penn does, like Shimano does, that's under a little bit of pressure to protect that bearing. Or at least put a, I mean, at that point you could put a mag sealed bearing on the side plates, but then I guess you're essentially getting a Saltiga at that point. Maybe the mag sealed bearings are extremely expensive. On the Daiwa Ballistic with mag seal, not the Ballistic MQ, I haven't used that one yet, haven't had my hands on that one yet. It had this exact same little rubber piece where the handle inserted into, and salt water would constantly get in there and that bearing would go bad over and over again. It's just, it's a design that, in my opinion, is inferior to what Penn's using and what Shimano's using. My guess, here it is, my guess, the Spheros and the Saragosa are still going to hold up a little bit better to obnoxious amounts of saltwater exposure, vice the BG MQ and the Saltist. Overall, this is a reel that feels great, I think looks amazing, I think its drag capabilities are going to be great, I think it's going to feel exceptionally solid under load, and I think it's going to catch me a whole lot of fish. For $300, do I think it's going to be a reel that's going to be comparable to the Saragosa? I don't know. We will see. I honestly think it already feels a lot more solid than the Saragosa. Daiwa is amazing at having that solid feeling reel out of the box and continuing to have that solid feeling reel because of their massive digi-gear, how effectively cut their gears are, and how refined everything is within their process. So time will tell how this reel stands up to the elements, how it stands up to some massive fish, but I'm excited to get it out and get using it. So what do you all think? Are you interested in the Saltist MQ, or is another reel on your wish list right now? Go ahead and comment below whatever reel is #1 on your wish list right now, regardless of price. Additionally, if you guys are interested in seeing my full review of the Saragosa, go ahead and click that one. It's up on the screen somewhere. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.